The price of an action is mediocrity. Now, if we're being frank, we all have these grandiose aspirations of who we want to be, where we want to go, and very often it's the fact that we don't get to those particular aspirations. The reason is because there's an ideal version of you, that achieves everything you set out to do or plan to do. And the differentiating factor between you and that ideal is inaction or the lack of action. Now, guys, let's be honest. Compounding interest is not just a financial term. It can be implemented in action as well, all types of action. For example, if you want an ideal physique, you have to build the behaviors of going to the gym on a consistent basis. That's an action that compounds over and over again until you get to that ideal outcome. The same with wanting to build, for example, a R1 million portfolio. It's very important to have the action and the diligence and the discipline to constantly put money away on a monthly basis to get to that particular outcome. These small actions, irrespective of whether it's financial or personal, compound over time to get you to your ideal outcome. Now I'm going to talk about one of my favorite quotations from Alex Hormozy, and he akins human action being closer to divinity. So when God spoke and he said, "Let there be light," there was light, and that is an act of divinity. And so when we speak about our aspirations, we must act immediately to make them a reality. And the distance between action and reality is the closer we can get to divinity. So it's very important to actually look at that relation and that correlation as well, and to say, the moment you have a particular idea that you want to achieve, act on it. And the faster you act and the quicker you implement, the closer you'll be towards that ideal outcome. And that is an act of divinity on its own. Now, I've engaged with a variety of individuals, particularly my peers, and I've identified that there is one defining characteristic that makes my peers that actually start with these instruments earlier different to my peers that started with them now. And that's that they chose to act when they had the opportunity to do so. So it's very important to consider that acting in the present moment, when you have the opportunity to do so, is the ideal outcome. Because you don't want to say, let me find myself in a more favorable position, because what if that never occurs? Haphazard action is far better and far exceeds inaction in any regard. Another indication that shows you the importance of action are these asymmetric opportunities that present themselves throughout history. Think about the people that first found out about the gold rush in the US, or the people that first engaged with the internet, with Amazon, Google, Microsoft. Think about the people that first were the pioneers of cryptocurrency or AI. All of these people found themselves in a situation where they could utilize these technologies, these asymmetric opportunities, and maximize. And the only reason that they could do that is because they chose to act. Now, we're well aware of the risks that pioneers have, right? The first person to act is typically the one that is exposed to the most risk. However, whenever you start something and you're one of the first people to actually engage, the potential return that you will get is significantly higher than everybody else that comes after you. And so we need to look at that in our personal lives as well. If you started working out, for example, at an earlier stage than everybody else, or if you started having financial diligence at an earlier stage than everybody else, you would be far ahead of everybody else. And so it's very important to consider asymmetric opportunities, not only financially, but in our personal lives. We need to start looking at acting. And so the main point of contention that I want to drive across is the fact that action is incredibly important. For if we do not act, you will remain mediocre. You will fall to the whims of those that acted before you. And so it's very important to implement those things in your personal lives, ladies and gentlemen. Identify those places where you choose not to act because you're looking for a more favorable situation, and start acting off the bare minimum. Action will get you where you want to go, but inaction is a pathway to hell. Thank you very much for listening to what I have to say, ladies and gents. And if you do think that you've gotten value from this type of message, please do like, share, follow, and share with some people that you think will benefit as well.